Joining us now to break down the developments on Capitol Hill is Representative Jody Hice, the congressman serving Georgia's 10th District and a member of the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee. So, Congressman, today James Comey appeared on Capitol Hill, something that any other time probably in this whole political news cycle that we have would have been a major story, but because of what's going on, it kind of slipped under the radar for a lot of people. So I want to ask you, what did you think of James Comey's appearance?
Yeah, listen, it really is amazing how seemingly is going underneath the radar. We've had a busy day here on Capitol Hill as well, so I'm catching up on it myself. But it's amazing to me, absolutely stunning, how Comey came in and really denied some things that we already knew to be true. Like he said he was not aware that Hillary Clinton and the DNC was behind funding the false Steele dossier. We know better than that. It's amazing to me how this individual so full of himself continues to try to reflect the truth and continually tries to skirt responsibility that he, as the head of the FBI, had. And I believe at some point the walls are going to come crumbling in upon him because this is just, his testimony today from everything I've seen was frankly just absolutely unbelievable. And I believe that will come out to be absolutely the fact when all is said and done.
And Congressman, I think that it's important to note that James Comey doesn't necessarily have a lot of allies on either party right now. I mean, a lot of Democrats blame him for Hillary Clinton's loss in the 2016 election. A lot of Republicans blame him for the investigation into the Trump campaign. So I don't think that there's too many necessarily people coming to his defense right now. But, for example, Democrats on your committee, they control the lower chamber right now. They won't exercise oversight over anything pertaining to the Trump campaign investigation. So would you like to see some of your colleagues in the upper chamber, in the Senate, maybe exercise their oversight, whether it comes to the inception of the Russia investigation, the Durham report, this new finding regarding Hillary Clinton and her effort to tie President Trump to Russian President Vladimir Putin? Would you like to see them exercise their oversight?
Absolutely. I mean, the American people deserve to have answers to these. These are extremely important questions that deal with corruption at the highest levels of our government. And we are a people who have the right to have some degree of transparency and knowledge, information as to what's going on. It appears from what came out from John Ratcliffe yesterday, and as we're seeing more information today, that Hillary Clinton, even the Russians, were aware that Hillary Clinton and people in top levels of our government were planning a scandalous attempt to take down then candidate Donald Trump through trying to tie him to some sort of false Russia collusion, which in fact, as we all know, actually happened, which led to impeachment proceedings for a couple of years. The American people need to know how this started, why it started, who was involved with it, and I can tell you in the 10th District of Georgia, probably the number one thing I hear when I'm in the district is people wanting to know, when is someone going to jail? When is someone going to be held accountable for these things? And so whether the depth of which potentially criminal activity took place, we need to find out. And I would love to see the upper chamber move exceedingly quickly and thoroughly on some of the investigations to get to the bottom of these questions.
I think you're right, because I know that when I talk to a lot of people, too, they're getting a little frustrated with the idea that they keep being told to wait for that next report, that next hearing, that next bombshell that's going to come out. And they want to start seeing some answers, because this has been an issue that we've been getting little leaks of, little drips, if you will, every now and then. And it all seems to be leading to the same direction, but it's been such a slow process that I think a lot of people are starting to get to the point where they want answers. But I think when we talk about this subject as well, and especially what Democrats have done with their control of the lower chamber, it brings up how important it is to control whether it's the House or the Senate or one of them, if not both. So I want to ask you, how important is it going to the November election for Republicans to either take back the House or maintain control of the Senate?
Listen, I cannot overemphasize the reality that elections have consequences, and what we have seen take place over the last 3 years, 3.5 years, coming up on 4 years now, is unprecedented. We are seeing corruption at the highest levels of our government. We, as members of Congress, under the leadership of Speaker Pelosi, we are being left out of the entire process of trying to legislate. We're being left out of being able to to have our witnesses in hearings. We're not able to offer amendments. We're not able to even have our own bills offered realistically on the floor. I mean, this is no way to run a country. And so the importance of elections, and be it taking back the House or protecting the Senate and the White House, is beyond my words to adequately describe. Literally, the future of our nation is at stake. We are in the fight of our life for America. We are literally going to go down a path of socialism and Marxism, or we're going to have an America that most of us have grown up in, of limited government and maximum freedom and liberty for all. The consequences have never been higher, and so this is the time for people to understand what's at stake and to jump in with both feet and get involved.
And when it comes to the power that Democrats now have in the House, we've seen how they used it, whether it be in impeachment. I mean, something that, once again, it's kind of crazy that it happened just a couple months ago, and here it is being buried in the news cycle once again. But, I mean, that is something that is very severe. And now when we talk about a possibility of Democrats taking back the Senate as well, they're talking about doing things that are irreversible, giving statehood to Puerto Rico, Washington, D.C., which would add 4 senators to their side, in addition to the idea of possibly stacking the courts and doing away with what we know to the Supreme Court to be with. So I think you're exactly right to say that a lot is on the ballot, apart from the candidates themselves, this upcoming November. But Representative Jody Hice, I really appreciate you coming on the program tonight, breaking down the congressional efforts. Thank you.
Always my honor. Thank you.